I'd like to bring this meeting to order. The Village of Villa Park Board of Trustee meeting, February 12th, 2024. Clerk Kornacki, please call the roll.
Trustee Alfano.
Here.
Trustee Cordova.
Here.
Trustee Corkery.
Here.
Trustee Kozar.
Here.
Trustee Kumar.
Here.
Trustee Patrick.
Here.
President Kazone.
Here. And please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and then remain standing. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us together this evening. May we have meaningful discussions that will help us to assist our village in these trying times. Help us to make the decisions that will affect the staff, directors, and residents of Villa Park. Guide us through the challenges we face, and may we approach each other with respect and kindness as one group. In your name, amen.
Amen.
Okay, item 3 is amendments to the agenda. Do we have any proposed amendments? Seeing none, we have public comments on agenda items. Anyone signed up? Clerk Kornacki.
I have no one for agenda, no.
Okay, anyone in the audience, agenda items? Okay, item 5 is public comments on non-agenda items. Clerk Kornacki.
Yes, Christine Murphy.
Good evening. I'm Christine Murphy. I reside at 523 South Yale Avenue in Villa Park. And I would like to circle the wagons back to one of the slides we saw earlier in the COW meeting regarding the sewer and the tree roots and the basement flooding issues. First and foremost, I'd like to thank the board for reviewing the home flood prevention reimbursement program and making enhancements for the residents. I was hugely in favor of that, and I will get into a little bit about what happened in my yard and the sewer collapse from the tree roots in the parkway. But I'm primarily here to ask the board and the village to reconsider adding a 50-50 resident reimbursement for what I'm going to call incidental sewer infrastructure repairs from the curb to the main, resulting from what I'm calling incidental catastrophic failure, which has caused sewer backups in people's houses. So basically, to make that more simple, last week I had sewer water back up into my basement. And just for a little history, a few years back, my whole front sewer collapsed, and I had Russell's Plumbing come out and replace it. The village was very, very professional in working with me to make sure that we did it properly. We got a good vendor. At that time, the reimbursement was $1,000, which was nowhere near the cost of the repair. But the point of that story is it was repaired all the way from my house to the curb. So we thought we were all going to live happily ever after until last week. So last week, I once again had sewer water backed up into the basement. I called the village. The village was very prompt in coming out, and they did check the sewer main and said the sewer main was running. So I had called, Russell's Plumbing has maintained that sewer religiously ever since the original problem, because the last thing anyone wants is water in their basement, and we learned it the hard way. So the plumber was coming out, and that was fine, and the plumber did come out. And the end result is that they did find a root ball in the sewer, in the infrastructure under the street between the curb and the sewer main, all the way to almost exactly the perpendicular point of where it runs into the main. From my perspective, I feel like there's a lack of understanding of who owns that piece. From my perspective, that would have been addressed at the time that both the village and the plumber came out when we redid the whole front infrastructure. I don't know, even at that time, if having had that knowledge would have resolved a problem, because at that point, there apparently was not a root problem in that component from the curb to the street. Russ's Plumbing is awesome. I will give them kudos. And when they do come out and clean out the sewer, which I would encourage everyone to be assured, when you have your sewer cleaned out, make sure they're not only cleaning out from the clean out to the house, but from the clean out to the middle of the street, which I've now learned that I own.
30 seconds.
So the point of the story, I guess, is that I am now the proud owner of a root ball. I don't have one tree in my front yard or my parkway. So I have a root ball with no tree, a $450 bill from a plumber for a problem that's in the middle of our Villa Park Street. And I would be willing to pay 50% of that, but I'm not happy and don't feel that I should incur the entire expense for the repair in the street. Thank you, and have a good evening.
Okay, thanks, Christine. Anyone else, Clerk Rennick?
Yes, Robert Gould.
Greetings, Villa Park Board members. My name is Robert Gould, and I'm president of Auto Shades Incorporated at 331 West Stone Road in Villa Park. After attending last village board meeting, I wish to provide proof pics of the issues I presented, which are, I'm missing some, but Mr. Patrick is going to expedite them tomorrow to everybody. I was missing a couple of photos. Item A illustrates the illegal junkyard at 300 West Stone Road, which has been periodically addressed to no avail. It is against written village code. It has to be eliminated permanently. It is affecting property values, and its unkempt appearance is disgusting. Also, the constant parking of unlicensed tagged vehicles on the parkway, which I believe is village property. B and C illustrates the illegal parking which occurred on Stone Road, which needs permanent signage, to which I'm only suggesting, clearly stating no parking, you will be towed, because towing vehicles is a monumental effort when they're abandoned. So it's just my suggestion. I don't know if it's legal, but no parking, you will be towed on the north side, and same on the south side, except dusk to dawn, which is village standard, I understand. Not supposed to park on some of these streets from dusk to dawn. I don't know if that's correct, but going off of the past conversation. There's constant unlicensed and abandoned vehicles parked there. I recently heard a village snowplow damaged a car that should not have been parked. Also, because I work very late hours, Stone Road is a drag strip after hours and needs a two-way stop sign at Iowa and Stone or speed bumps. Someone will get killed. It's very dangerous. Please do a study. I am only making suggestions. I was at the village meeting on the January 22nd and absorbed a message about bringing the village up to new standards and do my part as business building owner. My property represents a huge investment since the 90s and soon to be a retirement plan. Commercial properties are at the $1 million mark, and neighboring slum properties are degrading values. My neighbors don't care. I do. It's about money and constant improvements I've invested. If necessary, I will fund metal signs. I will not go away. Finally, I was quite impressed with the articulate and very knowledgeable staff and trustees during the board meeting, and I thank you for allowing me to speak. P.S. Upon leaving the meeting on the 22nd, I was approached by a senior law enforcement officer regarding my complaint about the parking and was told, I believe, 13 parking tickets were issued, and all of a sudden the street on the south side has been cleared. I will not stop pursuing this endeavor and will do more than required as a very pleased taxpayer. I just got one final letter. This is a synopsis of the prior document. This effort is due to the fact that I have been trying to lease out commercial space in my building, fielding response as to why the neighboring properties are so run down and disheveled. Formerly, I was instrumental in forcing out a prior occupant at 3,300 square foot warehouse at 335 West Stone Road that I sold to Mr. Jesse, AKA Jesse's Auto Repair, due
30 seconds.
to a pig pen atmosphere and unsafe environment with hazmat issues. I recently installed a dry chem fire suppression system and Resner fresh air intake upgraded furnace without being prompted by without being prompted by the fire chief. My efforts are in line with village code enforcement, and when directed by community development to solve issues with my property, I act immediately and without hesitation. I'm almost done. And do so permanently, not as some of my peers do temporarily. Kudos to the trustees Kevin Patrick and Jack Kozar, who have spoken in person, called, and emailed me with full support. I am truly at a loss for words. And the police chief, who approached me in person last meeting stating his positive intent. I'm overwhelmed with response and acceptance of my endeavors. Although I'm not well liked by neighboring peers whom this may affect, this is about Villa Park, not me. That's all.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Anyone else?
No one else.
Okay, anyone else, public comments on non-agenda items?
Hi, my name's Trisha Little, and I live at 508 North Yale Avenue in Villa Park. We have been residents of Villa Park for 19 years. My husband works for a business in town. I run a small business in town. Our kids all attend Villa Park schools. I have 3 at North, 1 at Jefferson, and 1 at Willowbrook this fall. We love our village. We are so happy to be here. This is a wonderful place to live and to raise a family. But I am really concerned about the fact that we adopted a plan for bike and pedestrian infrastructure in 2018, and we have not done the things on the plan. We have not followed through. I understand that it's a goal and it's a vision for the future, but it also represents a commitment to the community. Investing in the research that was done to create this plan was a commitment to make sure that our community would be equitable, would be safe, and would be focused on the needs of all of the people who live and work in Villa Park. Bike infrastructure has a very small cost and a very large impact. There's a lot of research, a lot of studies that say people who are walking and biking in a location spend more time there, they spend more money there, they care about the people around them, they care about the people that they see. It's a good thing for our village to encourage people to walk and to bike. We have a plan that makes it easier for people to be able to do those things consistently, and we haven't followed that plan. I've been emailing with the village trustees, with the president, and I received an email last night from our village manager, Matt. It mentioned a grade separation project that we're just getting into starting the initial steps on that's going to cost between $30 and $50 million. Now, I'm not an expert on finances, but I guarantee every single thing from the bike and pedestrian infrastructure plan could be done for way less than $30 million. In fact, I bet that we could accomplish 80% of it for under $2 million. And for my family, it's a big priority to invest in that bike and pedestrian infrastructure. It's never been fully funded because, as our village manager says, other needs have taken precedence. I think it's time to stop letting other needs take precedence. We can make these big changes that will have a significant impact on the quality of life in our community. We can make them easily, efficiently, and cheaply, and I think we need to start doing that. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else? Public comments on non-agenda items. Also, please sign in when you're done.
Hi, my name is Beanish, and I'm here today to discuss an issue of immediate concern. You are likely aware of the issue going on in Palestine, where for the past 4 months there has been a siege over the small area of Gaza, where 2.2 million people live. It has been decimated by airstrikes, bombings, and white phosphorus poisoning. The Israeli soldiers have crossed every line imaginable, with over 30,000 innocent civilians killed. To put that into context, that is more than 10,000 people above the population of Villa Park. In addition, hospitals, churches, mosques, homes, and bakeries have been destroyed. If people are not dying from the bombs, they are dying from the lack of access to medical care and food. And to top it all off, these deplorable actions are being funded by our tax dollars. The hard work that we're putting in and day out is being used against our wishes to fund a genocide. The Israeli government has blocked a majority of the humanitarian aid that much of the world has been trying to provide. That means there's a significant portion of starving children, as they make up over half of the population in Palestine. Imagine saying to your own child that you can't have food today, you aren't allowed a piece of bread today. I implore you to pass the ceasefire resolution, in which we are asking for an immediate and sustained ceasefire, and allow us to stop the Israeli government from doing this to the Palestinian people. This is an issue that extends beyond any political, religious, or cultural biases that we have as a collective can and should be able to agree on. We deserve for our elected officials to listen to what we're asking, to represent us in our thoughts and our beliefs. We deserve to have our voices heard. We deserve to have a voice in determining where our tax dollars are going. They deserve our humanity. I'm here today to take a small weight off my heavy heart to do something to help and protect the Palestinian people. I I know that a ceasefire resolution at the local level has no immediate action. However, it is a statement of our community's values. My conscience will not allow me to remain silent. How is your conscience? Are you doing enough? Are you doing enough for those people? As leaders of our community, you have an opportunity right now to help them. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening. My name is Mohammed Chaudhry. I was here for ceasefire for Gaza, but I heard about local municipal problem for funding. I just want to brought up only small thing for you guys. Where we going to be in the future? $3.1 billion every year. We send that money to the terrorist country. Do we have enough funds for to run our own village? If you divide it by to come to this town, at least $1 million, our taxpayer, local Villa Park, money going there for federal tax. I think 1 million is enough to do lot of sewage or other problem. And then if we are sitting and doing nothing, what's going to happen, you and me, in the future when we go for become senior citizen home? Where we don't have medicines, quality one, we have generic medicines. Where we don't have good living because our social security funding cannot afford that. Where are we going to end up if we not stop giving our hard-earned tax money to someone who's sitting there and we're growing and raising a monster? And when you raise monster, one time is gone, he's going to bite you. Because I'm worried, I'm American, and I'm worrying about my all fellows American citizens. We have our hard-earned veterans. Take a look. They give their life. They thought when they die for it, they thought they have some good future for us. For their kids, for their wives. Or if they come back as a hurt person, they're going to have good medicines. But take a look, we also have deficit there. Is this the right time to can raise up our voice and raise as far as we can and let them know this is our taxpayer? Every drops come up to the $3.1 billion. We need to stop that. Instead of raising monster and terrorists, we need to raise and grow our own kids. We raise to grow our elders when they become retired. And we need to take care of our veterans. With this, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Okay, anyone else?
Cheryl Tucker, I know that we had the meeting prior of it. I'm just bringing up the strategic report after you guys are done, to please bring it back to the board so that the people of the village can know what you're planning to go forward on that plan and that it is transparent, because being on the board, previous meetings haven't been as transparent. We get them in print, but that's where they stop. So I'm asking this board to please be a little more fulfilling. We had the great presentation for them to follow through and let the people of the village, after you make a decision in your meeting on this, to bring it back to a board meeting so people can understand what you're discussed and what you want to go forward on. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Okay, anyone else?
Good evening. Thank you very much. My name is Khurshid Hora, and I'm here to speak about a ceasefire resolution for in Israel and in Gaza. I totally agree and accept that what happened on October 7th was wrong and was definitely wrong. But I also say whatever is happening after October 7th is also wrong. So where does this stop? I mean, I can give you all the data that you read hopefully in every day in the newspapers or so. I mean, we know that over 29,000 people have been dead. Over 70,000 people are injured. Over 80% of Gaza's living space is destroyed. We just don't know where they will go and live. And I also understand that we, as a municipality, have no role in foreign policy. I totally understand that. And I totally accept that. But I also want to add, when I was growing up and when I was raising my child, or children for that matter, I always told them to do the right thing. Speak when you see something wrong. Speak also when you see something right. So I'm just going to say the same thing to us here. Yes, we do not have any role in the foreign policy. Totally understand that. But this is where the grassroots starts. This is where we need to speak to stop any wrong. And again, I'm not referring to any religious or ethnic background into it. This is simply a matter of humanity. A human trying to save another human. That's what simple it is. So I have this, I wanted to say a whole bunch of things, but it really comes down to my heart is that as human, can we save another human? And if I go back to my own religion, I will just mention that in my religion, it tells me that killing one human is as if you are killing the whole humanity. And saving one human is as if you have saved the whole humanity. So all we are asking for you is to raise your voice. That's all. I understand that, but if in the Chicagoland we have 273 communities, 273 municipalities, if 273 municipalities raise their voice, wouldn't our federal government or federal elected officials will react? I will leave these thoughts with you. Hopefully, when you will go to bed tonight, some of these thoughts will come to you, and hopefully you'll think about those children. We raise our voice when we see even a car passing a school bus. If the school bus stops and that car passes, we say it is unsafe for our children.
30 seconds.
I'm humbly requesting you to consider this, not because I came to you, but because it's the right thing to do. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else? Okay, that we will move on. Items 6, 7, and 8, proclamations, presentations, and appointments of commissions. We have none tonight. Item 9 is a consent agenda. Approval of minutes of the January 22nd, 2024 Village Board of Trustees meeting, and bill listings from the week of January 22nd, 2024 for $2,462,503.37. January 29th, 2024 for $1,246,698.78. And February 5th, 2024 for $54,440.07 for a total amount of $3,763,642.22. Do we have a motion for the consent agenda? Trustee Corkery? Do we have a second? Trustee Kumar? Any questions or comments? Okay, Clerk Kornecki, please.
Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
Trustee Cordova?
Yes.
Trustee Alfano?
Yes.
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
Trustee Corkery?
Yes.
Trustee Kumar?
Yes.
President Casone?
Yes. Okay, we have no ordinances. We don't need a first reading, right?
No, there's no need for a first reading on this.
Okay. Item 12A is an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving a fourth amendment to the letter of intent for the purchase and development of 100 to 110 South Villa Avenue between Catalyst Partners and the Village of Villa Park. Major Harlane.
On June 28, 2023, the Village Board approved the third amendment of the letter of intent, which established a new set of 5 conditions for the purchaser and seller to complete by February 12, 2024. Additional time is required to complete the remaining outstanding conditions and to set new conditions in the future. Community Economic Development Director Mark McLaughlin and David Lyon from Catalyst Partners are both here if you have any questions. This project is moving forward, but there's a deadline on the letter of intent. We'd like to extend that.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we have a motion for the, Trustee Patrick?
Mr. President, I'd like to make that motion.
Okay, do we have a second? Trustee Kumar? Yes. Any questions or comments? Trustee Kozar?
There was, from the last letter of intent, there was a provision in there for a non-refundable earnest money. Doesn't appear to be in the current one. I would assume that would carry over, or if not increase, because we're extending.
Director
those out.
McLaughlin.
Yeah, that is correct, and we are holding that in escrow, and it's staying over.
And how much was that?
We're 50,000.
Sure.
I just concur with Mark said, and I would, by the way, I'm David Lyon. I represent the Marquette Companies, Catalyst
sorry.
Partners. Yeah, thank you. I would ask respectfully that we that you not request additional earnest money. We are in a period of large pre-development spend. So as an example, what lies on the horizon is, could be up to $200,000 or more in engineering and architectural work to get to closing. Excuse me. Additionally, we just spent quite a sum of money doing the environmental investigation work for the site, which was necessary as one of the conditions in the LOI. And so, again, I would respectfully request that the $50,000 that is currently in escrow be the amount that stays, just given our current expenditures.
So, yeah, speaking for myself, I want to see this project go through. And it's tied in with our TIF. So it's my understanding that without the TIF, this project is not as appealing to you, right? So the board's kind of put in a position where, even though we want your project 100%, I certainly do, everything that we can do to move that along, would like to see it go. I feel like the board's kind of been put in a spot that we can't have a different opinion on the TIF, because if we don't approve the TIF, presumably, what happens?
Well, I think we're sitting behind just the district being approved in and of itself first, which is in motion, right? So that's been part of what we've been waiting for. So you're exactly right. We have a pretty large, now too large, public components to the project. The first that we've discussed over a long period of time is the public parking that will be created and be controlled by the village as part of this project, 100 public parking spots. But now, as I mentioned, after the environmental investigation, we will be cleaning up what is a contaminated site, which includes removing underground storage tanks that were left from past users of that site. And so the TIF becomes a critical component to facilitate the project and those two public pieces of it.
And I agree with the TIF as it pertains to your property. I think that is a good incentive, and I think it's something that you would absolutely want for this type of project, so that you can recapture some of the tax money that you're spending because of what the benefit you're bringing. So I have no issue with that at all, and I'd like to see that TIF approved as it is to you. But the TIF that we're asked to approve is much bigger than just your property. So it's, we have one aspect of the TIF that we really want, and we really want to give it to you. But if we're going to do that, we have to do all of this too. So I have my reservations with it as to all of the other. No reservation when it comes to your development. Want to see it. I like how you've been progressing. It's definitely different than other projects in town or project in town that we've been seeing. I think you're making good professional moves forward, and I think you're advancing the way that it should. I'm naturally impatient, so I'd like to have seen it built yesterday, but going along,
And I appreciate that. And I think this project too, as evidenced by your support, we all know it's could be a very catalytic project for the community in that location. And I think it will address multiple components that were actually even presented in what I saw at the tail end of the survey that you did with the public. The parking, also, we've, as you know from past presentations, we've named this or themed it the Union. So in part, it pays homage to the history of the rail line here, but it also, it reflects the goals to have a development and something there at the trailhead that unites all of the community. There's another reason for people to come into the historic, what I consider to be the historic downtown, the historic district of Villa Park.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Trustee Kumar?
The additional time required, what is the specification on that? What is the expectation on that? Is it only tied to the TIF approval, or is it tied to some other stuff?
Yeah, so in the current LOI, which expires this evening, which is why we're asking for the extension, the first two conditions have been met, which is the environmental component, which was a significant financial outlay, and the submittal of their pro forma. So we're reviewing that document. The next one is to create the TIF, and then the one after that is to obtain all zoning entitlements. And so through the environmental and through the pro forma, they are proposing a 7-story, so it's 2 floors of parking, and then 5 stories of residential above it. That needs to go forward through the Planning and Zoning Commission public hearing process again. So it's the time constraint that a public hearing and a full staff review and ordinance approval and all that fun stuff takes.
That's fine, but this has no specific date, and I would like
It should, it absolutely should. November 11th, 2024.
November 11th.
Yeah.
It has.
November
a
12th.
memo,
Yep.
okay.
November 12th.
But I would, yeah.
12th? Oh, sorry, November 12th, 2024.
Okay,
Sorry,
And so if I could add to what
so
Mark,
that's about 6 months,
9.
9 months.
Yeah, we asked, we did a 9-month.
Re-addition here, but,
So
okay.
that while they're in the middle of a planning and zoning process, we didn't have to extend it again. Let's get it through the outside date so that it's village board approved without having to do another amendment.
Okay,
That was the
I
idea.
mean, I'm okay with extending it, I just want a clear date
Yeah.
certain on the extension.
Absolutely.
And if possible, a meeting of the criteria you've set forth, dates on that
Mm-hmm.
as a possible timeline, clarified to the board and sent to us, if you can. Like, there's different things that are gonna happen, the TIF creation, what time do you expect? Just an expectation, just so we know we'll meet that in November. Extending this over and over again, to me, I understand it has to go through the process,
Right.
but it sets a motion of slowing down everything, and we want the
Yeah, so-
building to come up as fast as
I
possible.
agree, and if I could add to what Mark said, to give a deeper explanation for all the trustees as it relates to the timing and this extension. So as a function of the environmental investigation, we discovered if we do a 7-story versus a 6-story with a basement, we'll still have to excavate, but by coming back for an approval for that change, we are reducing the remediation cost significantly. We still have to remove the underground storage tanks, but that we won't have to remove as much soil. So this extra time will save money for all of us. It'll make it a better project in the end.
And the TIF should be on the next board meeting on the 26th for approval. The TIF should be
Yeah,
on
no,
that.
I realize.
And I will just add, if I could make one more comment as it relates to timing. During this extra time, besides the exercise, the process that Mark just described, we, with Marquette Companies as the lead, we do currently have interested capital partners, both debt and equity. These capital partners have worked with Marquette before, including in DuPage County, but also in their high-rise developments in downtown Chicago. So once the TIF is approved and we have the development agreement and zoning approved, we will be able to start to formalize and execute on those commitments.
The environmental report, has that been completed?
It
The
has,
actual, can we get a copy of that?
absolutely.
We have that on file.
Do we get that? Okay, good. Thank you. Any other questions? Okay. Clerk Konecki?
Okay, trustee Cordova?
Yes.
Trustee Corkery?
Yes.
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
Trustee Kumar?
Yes.
Trustee Alfano?
Yes.
President Kazone?
Yes.
Thank you,
So
everyone.
we'll
Appreciate
Keep
it.
moving on this one. Item 13A is a resolution approving and waiving the formal bidding requirements and authorizing the execution of a mosquito abatement services contract by and between the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, and Clark Environmental Mosquito Management, Inc. for the years 2024, 2025, and 2026 at a cost of $36,058 per year. Manager Harling.
Excuse me. This resolution authorizes waiving the formal bidding requirements for mosquito abatement contract, services conduct for 3 years with Clark Environmental Mosquito Management for $36,058 per year. This contract will help manage the communities of the village and reduce spraying and coordinate service with neighboring communities of the village. Help manage the mosquito population, reduce spraying and coordinate service with neighboring communities of the village, and help reduce the potential public health threat of transmitting diseases mosquitoes carry. The resolution authorizes the village president to execute the agreement. Staff recommends approval. If you have any questions, myself and Public Works Director Michael Guerra are here to answer questions.
Okay, thank you. Okay, do we have a motion for the resolution? Trustee Corkery, we have a second. Trustee Kumar? Okay, questions or comments? Trustee Corkery.
Why are we waiving the bidding on this one?
We have worked with Clark for some time, but in addition to that, both Elmhurst and Lombard have already signed contracts with this company, and because it is useful to coordinate with them, going out to a formal bidding process at this time and getting another contractor would make it much more difficult to coordinate service. Because mosquitoes can travel up to a mile, it's better to have a coordinated response. And I don't know if I left some things out, Michael. He probably should have turned that over to Director Guerra right away.
In addition, this is kind of a hybrid services. While the treatment is uniform, that's a lot of it's dictated by the public health and the EPA. They do have their own proprietary software for the monitoring of mosquitoes. I believe it's in the contract called like TMSS of those, and that's a lot of the requirement is they do provide the monitoring of the mosquitoes population, notify us of when there's potential like positive tests for West Nile, those transmittable diseases that we wish to stay out of our community, in addition to providing the services of the abatement. And should note that this one's for the abatement of like larvicide, so they'll be dropping the pellets into our catch basins, manholes where we have standing water, which is the breeding grounds for mosquitoes, to prevent the larvicide from producing mosquitoes is the big crutch of this agreement. So that's kind of why it's a formality to make sure that we cover the waiving of the bids, because it is kind of that hybrid approach of services plus proprietary software.
How long have they been doing ours? Do you know, roughly?
I think it dates back to 2014. It might go further back than that, but I do know like one of the first contract. In my folder, it's 2014 is one of the first contracts.
Okay, thank you. Okay, any other questions? Trustee Kumar.
Is it an EPA requirement that we go through the process of mosquito abatement? Just a question, actually.
I think that there's just more of a health concern. I mean, in order to handle the larvicide and to distribute the distribution of those treatments, you have to be certified. But in terms of a requirement to provide those services, not, it's usually just out of, I would have to verify that, but I believe it's more out of the necessity of wanting to maintain a healthy environment for our residents.
Okay, any other questions? Hey, Clerk Kornacki. Thank you, Director.
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
Trustee Alfano?
Yes.
Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
Trustee Cordova?
Yes.
Trustee Kumar?
Yes.
Trustee Corkery?
Yes.
President Casone?
Yes. Item 13B is a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving the final change order number 1 to the contract with Builders Paving LLC of Hillside, Illinois, for construction of the 2023 Rebuild Illinois resurfacing project for a net addition in the amount of $118,671.60. Manager Harline.
The village has a contract with Builders Paving LLC of Hillside, Illinois, in the amount of $1,160,000 for the construction of the 2023 Rebuild Illinois resurfacing project. Proposed final change order number 1 consists of the final balancing of contract quantities as measured in the field, which includes $158,700 of additional sidewalk removal and replacement to ensure all of the Illinois Rebuild bond funds by the village were spent by 2025. The net amount of the proposed final change order number 1 is an addition in the amount of $118,671.60 for an adjusted contract amount of $1,278,671.60. Staff recommends approval of this change order. And just So the addition of the additional sidewalk quantities was what pushed it over the total. Again, Mike, Director of Public Works, Mike Guerra, is here to answer questions, or if there's anything else you wanted to add to that. Okay.
Okay, good. Okay, do we have a motion for the resolution? Trustee Kumar, do we have a second? Trustee Alfano? Okay, questions or comments? Trustee Kumar?
I'm glad they're doing sidewalks. Seems to be an issue.
Okay. Any other questions? Clerk Kornecki?
Okay, trustee Alfano,
Yes.
trustee Corkery,
Yes.
trustee Cordova,
Yes.
trustee Patrick,
Yes.
trustee Kumar,
Yes.
trustee Kozar,
Yes.
President Kazone.
Yes. Okay, item 14, unfinished business. I don't believe we have any. Item 15, new business. We don't have any. 16, we have no commission reports. Item 17, we have a village clerk's report.
Yes, I have something that I'm going to read into the minutes, please. It is sent to us from Jack Kozar, village trustee, regarding a disclosure notification of real property interest within the Kenilworth Tax Increment Financing District, which is TIF number 5, Kenilworth TIF District. The undersigned, as a member of the corporate authorities of the Village of Villa Park, hereby discloses and provides written notice that I own a direct or indirect interest in the property commonly described as 324 East Central Boulevard and 260 East Kenilworth Avenue in Villa Park, Illinois, which properly is located within the boundaries of the Kenilworth TIF District. I acquired said property prior to becoming a village trustee. And as I said, it is signed by Jack Kozar, village trustee.
Okay, thank you. And according to our village attorney, we need to vote on reading this into the public record. So if I can have a motion to acknowledge the disclosure. Trustee Patrick?
I'd like to make that motion.
Trustee Cordova?
Yes.
Second? Okay, any questions or comments? Trustee Kozar?
So obviously I'm recusing myself, but
Yes.
I think I brought this up numerous times. I haven't gotten any money from the TIF, as much as I asked before prior to becoming a trustee. So, didn't get anything then, not getting anything now, won't get anything in the future.
Okay, thank you.
President Kazone,
Yes.
I'm writing him down as abstaining.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, good. Okay, Clerk Kornecki?
Yes, trustee Corkery,
Yes.
trustee Kumar,
Yes.
trustee Patrick,
Yes.
trustee Alfano,
Yes.
trustee Cordova,
Yes.
President Kazone.
Yes. Okay. Any other items? Clerk Kornecki?
No, I have nothing else, thank you.
Okay, our village trustees report. We will start on our right. Trustee Patrick?
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning in tonight. I've got just a couple of things. First of all, I would like to call out the Villa Park Junior Warriors 8th grade bronze basketball team. Over the weekend, they won their game and put them into the playoffs next week in Bloomingdale. So stay tuned with more information from the Villa Park Junior Warriors 8th grade bronze basketball team. Second of all, this week marks a Valentine's Day. So this is just a reminder to everybody out there to make sure you don't forget about your significant other. Speaking of significant other, I would just like to take a moment to wish my wife, April, a happy anniversary. This week marks our 15th anniversary, so happy anniversary.
Congratulations. Okay. Trustee Cordova?
First, I'd like to thank Tricia for coming in. I got your email, as well as everyone else that spoke, and Irina as well. There's action that we can take, right? Especially with the bicycle, the plan that was put together. It is a safety issue. I always talk about how when I took my little guy when he was really small, we went on a bike ride on the prairie path. We jumped on the greenway or on the greenway, right? And we were walking down Villa, and I had to hold him and had his bike, and I was on my bike, and it was scary. So I know we have a plan in place for that, but I do appreciate people coming out and voicing their concerns. And I did get your email. Sorry for not responding. The second group that came in talking about a Palestinian ceasefire in Gaza, or yeah, just a ceasefire in Gaza. that hits home, right? When we talk about innocent people dying, and it feels unacceptable. It feels helpless. I don't know what to do. I know that a lot of municipalities and city councils have made resolutions, so I will start championing that. It is near and dear. You take out hospitals and schools, and I mean, it's pretty bad. And I don't know. I just don't know. I'm not going to be ignorant in that. But yeah, I think there's action. So more than anything, I like when people come, they speak. Thank you for coming as well. That's, I didn't know. I mean, that's pretty wild. We were just talking about it up here in the break. I have, yeah. But yeah, that's basically it. So thank you all for coming, and there is action. It's not just words. So,
Thank you. Trustee Kozar.
I don't really have any report today, but I do have a question about the agenda. In the top, there's a box, and there were some questions about this. It says, public participation is invited on each agenda item prior to the board's deliberation. As I read that, that makes me think that the public is invited to come up before any agenda item, as opposed to their set block, which is held in item 4, or, well, just item 4. So if that's kind of a misprint, it didn't used to be there, and it then was put on there.
I don't know, I thought that was on there. No, we have to look at that. Because I always thought that, I mean, it was just always
We
on
can
there.
just look at it, but I
Yeah.
don't think the intent is that, I mean, I don't necessarily have a problem with anybody that wants to discuss individual agenda items to do so right before the agenda item, but let's,
Yeah,
you know, maybe.
Yeah, I think
we
it just
could get a
means,
little
yeah, before,
clarification by the
you know,
next meeting.
yeah, okay. Maybe we can clean that up maybe a little bit. We'll take a look. Okay.
That's all, thank you.
Trustee Alfano.
Thank you. I also want to thank those residents who came out to speak with us this evening. I know that Miss Little, we have been in communication, and we know each other from around town, and our kids are in certain events together. But I do think that her issue with concerns about bike lanes, the email that I received was specifically on Ardmore, to get Willowbrook students, that north and south trail of some kind to get students to school safely, especially if you're on the north end of town and you are biking or walking to school, because there are kids that do that and don't take the bus or won't take the bus because there are certain hills parents won't die on. So I think that that's something that we should look at, and I don't know if there's anything planned short-term for that north-south path. I know that there has been some discussion. I'm hearing that there's some discussion, so I'd just like some clarification on that at the next meeting if we can get some, or if you have some now.
Just, if I
Go
may, I forwarded the full content of the email and the projects that we're working on in the next 3 to 5 years, particularly on Ardmore Avenue. We've got some, and in this year's budget, we're already beginning to fund the design for the 3 sections of Ardmore that we're going to improve. Of course, the most dangerous and difficult things that you cross on Ardmore are the train tracks.
That's right, yeah.
So that was the reason why I included that, because I think that the safest plan for the village, and one of the things we're working on, is a long-term project to include a grade separation, which would be the safest way to cross those train tracks. But
Sure.
in addition to that, on Villa Avenue in 25, or I don't know, if you don't mind, we're in the middle of your comments, but
Yeah, that's fine. Please.
Public Works Director
Yeah.
Guerra can give a little bit better detail off the cuff than I can.
Yes, to address, I think the most concern is the Ardmore. As previously stated, we do have Villa Avenue improvements that is funded in 25 through the STP, our DMC, our federal Surface Transportation Program funding. Through the public input and participation on that one, it was decided to add a multi-use path on the west side. That's where we facilitated the best, most practical economic choice versus on-road on the east side.
And this section that you're talking
And
about
this
at
is
Villa
the section of Villa from North Avenue all the way to Wildwood, which would be a separated off-road multi-use path that will tie in also to our project of the Tri-Trail, which is being under construction, will be finished in the spring. Additionally, we received grant funding through the STP, the Surface Transportation Funding, through the DMMC and Chicago Metropolitan Planning, CMAP. Sorry, I couldn't say that. And that is for road rehabilitation. Included in our grant for that road rehabilitation is to look at improving bicycle facilities. Now, we don't have it fully designed. We're beginning the design process because that is like a 2 to 3 year project going through the state to get all the approvals and get all the actual different phases studied and done. So we will probably start having public input on that, similarly like we did on on Villa, help determine what level of bike infrastructure is needed or required. So, because that could be anything from off-street with a multi-use path to on-street bike lanes. However, there's pluses and minuses, all those, maybe removal of parking. Obviously, we all know the safest means is to separate them from the roadway, but being an older built-out community, some of the challenges you heard in the COW also present itself in the transportation mode. We do have funding for the northern section, which is essentially from the overpass down to St. Charles here. That is in 27. And then we do have funding from the Ardmore section from St. Charles down to Madison in 26. So those are upcoming, and that will include. However, we will go through the public input. And I believe on the Villa one, we got quite intensive. So particularly, I think to answer the questions there, that is the plan, since we do have those grant fundings to do that. I don't think any short-term ones would be some signage, share the road signs. I don't think that's the intent that everyone's looking for, but unfortunately with federal funding, it takes a little bit of time to go through the process.
Sure. I can appreciate that. I just didn't know if there was a possibility to have it just even striped, especially around the train tracks in particular, or north or south of the train tracks to St. Charles, because I think once we get to St. Charles, it's a little bit easier to navigate with the traffic, but I think on that side, when you're looking as a parent who is having their child on a bike on that north part of Ardmore, I think it can be challenging.
I will
sure.
take a look. I think we do have a 3-lane section, which would require a little bit of reconfiguration, but I might be wrong on that. I'm trying to go off from memory. We don't have a consultant specified for that. We do have to go through a qualification-based selection, but that is something that we can maybe look at in the short term when we get them on board here, probably in the next quarter.
Okay. Just asking for what we could do in the short term, not for something that we can do tomorrow. So just to be clear.
No, I think it's a good request if there's any interim, especially on the northern section, since that is funded in the second.
Later. Yeah, they have to wait for a longer time. I think that would be something to consider looking into. Thank you. I appreciate that. So thank you, Ms. Little, for bringing that up. I also wanted to thank those involved that are in the focus groups or have been in the focus groups that take place. We do have a lot of information coming our way that we'll have to distill, and I look forward to doing that. Thank you, Mr. Gould, for bringing all of this information. I really do appreciate that. I am a visual person, so that is going to be very helpful with the pictures. And it does look like something that can be resolved over.
Patrick has other pictures. I didn't have enough, but he'll email those all.
Sure.
To everybody tomorrow.
I appreciate that. Thank you for bringing those in. I wanted to remind everybody about 211dupage.com for any assistance that you may find yourself in need of. I know that there have been a couple of back and forth emails regarding people who have been waiting for reimbursement for sewer work. And I was just wondering if we can explore a final deadline on the part of the village to issue those reimbursements. I know that as we go back and forth, it does become somewhat disheartening to our residents, and we did hear this evening that in some of the results of our focus group that it indicates that there are some areas where we really do need to focus on that customer service part, and I think just saying we'll have this to you by a certain date might help alleviate some of those trust concerns that we had that presented themselves there as well. And then as I'm looking at the calendar, we have a community vision workshop and a business workshop on February 28th. The business workshop, this is for the comprehensive plan. The business workshop is from 8 to 9:30, and it says it's at Sugar Creek Golf Course. And then the community is invited at Allegra Banquet, 6:30 to 8, for the community visioning workshop for the comprehensive plan, also on February 28th. So I hope that everybody can come out.
Thank you. Trustee Kumar.
I have just a few things. I would like to thank Corey for coming out and giving that presentation. For me, that was very enlightening. I got a lot of information from it, and I'm sure that it will help make decisions. I do agree, as a biker of the past, that we do need to address the bike and pedestrian routes. There is a third lane in Ardmore, I know, because in my heyday, I was kind of instrumental in writing the letter to get that third lane a long time ago. So we will have to kind of address that as well, but the bike lanes are hugely important. I did bike every day to Jefferson for years. It was not a great trek, and it really hasn't improved. So that's something we really need to work on. My heart does go out to many people who came out today to discuss the Gaza situation. It is not an easy one. I am not sure as to how we can address that issue. I will definitely think very hard on that issue. It's just not one easy for me to see even one person die in this world. So for me, it's a very, very hard thing as a mother. I just don't want to see children dying anywhere in this world. So this is not something that is easy for me to address. We will try to address that and come up with a proper solution. What we can do as a board, I'm hoping to come up with some statement. That being said, thank you also to Robert. Thank you for being a concerned business owner in Villa Park and all you do. These are the little things that make a difference to making our economic community a more feasible, cleaner, more proper one that we can bring more businesses into, because if it's clean and nice, you're more likely to get more better businesses in town. So thank you for all that information you gave as well. Thank you. So, and that's where I'm at.
I'd just like to take a moment to congratulate the cast and crew of The Odd Couple at Willowbrook High School. Which was, I saw it on Thursday. It was very funny. You could tell the audience loved it. They were losing it all night, which is pretty impressive, I think, for a play from 1965 to have that much laughing power. So congrats to everyone. I had a great time. I'd also like to thank the residents who came in to talk about the ongoing genocide in Gaza. What Israel is doing there is, I think, a horrible, hideous crime that is happening even now as we sit here talking about it. And I would absolutely support a ceasefire resolution, and I'd like to see that on the agenda very soon. And that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to kind of echo Trustee Alfano as far as the workshops that are going to be taking place on the 28th. This is for our comprehensive plan update that we're doing. So we've had a lot of comments on the strategic plan. Be nice to get a lot of public comments, business and community, on our comprehensive plan that we will be redoing. I do want to give a shout out to our police and fire departments. You know, we had some very good comments that came out of the strategic plan group, so that kind of just shows you what our first responders here in Villa Park, they do a great job. They're the best in DuPage County, so I'd like to congratulate our chiefs that are here. This past Friday, I was invited to a celebration at Easter Seals for their Bright and Early DuPage Initiative and their Smart Start Illinois programs, which is funding from the state of Illinois. Governor Pritzker was there. Our Representative Diane Blair Sherlock was there, and a lot of people came out for that. It was an excellent program. The governor got to see some of the facilities at Easter Seals. It's great to get our state people here to see what the great community that we have in Villa Park. Manager Harline was there also, and I think he'd agree. It was really a very nice event there that they put on. It was nice to see the governor here. And then Saturday, I was at the Metropolitan Mayor's Caucus meeting. There's their strategic planning session for their next couple of years. The MMC it's not a real well-known, it's well-known, but they just don't seem to do a lot. They meet a lot, there's a lot of discussions, and that was one of the things that was brought up Saturday is, you can have a lot of meetings and, the communities discuss things, but unless you get something done at the state level, it doesn't do a lot. So one of the things that was brought up was, instead of hiring lobbyists, is just have our mayors, presidents, and boards lobby ourselves to the people in charge downstate. So it was a really good point that was made, but it was really good. It was about 4 hour long, and it was a really good session that we had. Electronic recycling is February 17th, this coming Saturday, from 9 to 12 on Home Avenue. So if you have anything electronics you'd like to recycle, you just need your ID to show that you're a Villa Park resident. And that's all I have. Manager Holly, we'll go to the manager's report.
Just really quickly, several people have mentioned the comprehensive plan updates, and I thought it was interesting that one of the things that kept coming up in the strategic plan was to try and find things to do on St. Charles, which is an area of emphasis in the comprehensive plan. So I think that the two, there may be people still out there confused by the two, why we're doing both, but the two are working well together. The strategic plan being Corey wants me to say more on the 3 to 5 year planning for this board and what this board wants to make priorities in spending. The comprehensive plan is a land use plan that will make predictions and suggestions for how we develop land and the amenities, the transportation and other amenities that go with that for the next 15 or 20 years, because it takes a lot longer for those things to go through. Once it's built, it's as we've discussed tonight, kind of there are challenges with changing the built environment. I did want to say one of the things we want to work on in the Mike Guerra and I, Michael Guerra, Public Works Director, and I met Friday with LRS. Got some good data from them. There are some things that I think we can do to get help people recycle more. One of the things I learned that I did not know is that there are limited items that can be composted being put in with leaf waste. We will get that information out. Don't get crazy, just like vegetables, that kind of thing. So vegan items can be added to your leaf waste. But yes.
I have a question about oil recycling. Do you know if there's a place to recycle?
There's an item on our website, and I can't remember.
There used to be at Salt Creek. Is it still there?
I believe that was the location. We can confirm that they still
Yeah.
accept it.
Yeah.
Seasonal acceptance, but Salt Creek, I believe, was the location.
It would be nice to know. I mean, I've been collecting all my cooking oil in old cooking oil tubs, and I need to give them somewhere, wherever. It's something that's good to know. I know we don't want to throw it down in our sewer system. Yeah, we already seem to have issues, and that is not where we want our cooking oil going. So that's something that I think would be informative and helpful.
So we are continuing to monitor that contract and hope to be. We also will eventually get the last payment on the recycling grant that help purchase the carts. In other things, again, the staff, department heads, or a couple of assistant or deputy department heads, and the staff or the elected officials. Starting at 8 a.m. on the 24th, we'll have coffee and donuts or something like that. There'll be lunch provided, some snacks, but we hope we're planned 8 to 4. It's possible if we work hard, we get out sooner than that. But I think I really want to say publicly that I appreciate. I know not everyone can make it, and I know this is not for those who cannot in their schedule, but for those who can, I definitely appreciate the sacrifice that you guys are making, staying away from family, friends, Saturday afternoon. If, for staff, the only thing that makes it better is we get that Monday off because the elected officials have granted us that. But I really wanted to say thank you to my staff for agreeing to do this and to the elected officials for agreeing to do this. And that's all I've got.
Okay. Do you want to bring up the grant?
I'll let Parks Director Gola get the spotlight for the recent announcement that came from the OSLAD grant for the amenities outside of the recreation center, if you'd like to bask in the glory of the grant that you...
Wasn't me. Thank you, Manager Hardline. We did receive notice that we did get awarded the, excuse me, the OSLAD grant for Lions Park, $600,000 grant, it's a matching grant. So the wheels are starting in motion. We met with Upland Design last week. They will be working on their contract for the project, and then we'll be getting the executed grant agreement that we'll present to the board for their approval, for your approval. They need a resolution, and once we get the executed grant, then we can start and go out to bid and start. We should be able to start August 1st. So the building will over there will be enclosed, and so somewhere in the late summer, early fall, we can start, and with hopes of having everything completed by end of springtime 2025. So,
You get the outdoor basketball court is among those amenities, so.
yeah, and we posted it on the website with all the amenities that we submitted to the IDNR, and so we're very happy about that. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Thank you, Commissioner.
I just say one thing. I am very happy to see what's happening in Lufkin Park too. I saw that there's playground equipment going out there. I think Parks and Rec is rocking it right now. Great job.
Got a busy spring. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Oh, wait.
One more thing. Thank you for the reminder. We do, and we have this posted on the website. We have the WB Olson is going to paint a beam white, and we're going to give the residents the opportunity to come by on March 2nd from 10 a.m. to noon to sign the beam. That's going to go up in the building. We don't know if it's going to be exposed. If it's not, and it's in some area where we can't see, we're going to take a picture of where it's at and have a picture on the wall. But all the residents are welcome, board members, staff, to come out and sign the beam, and that'll be going up in the building. So, again, yeah. Thank you, Suzanne. It'll be in the municipal parking lot over off of Villa Avenue. So again, 10 a.m. to noon. Hopefully the weather will cooperate. If it doesn't cooperate, we have one of those buildings available. We'll put the beam inside the building so people can sign the beam and stay out of the weather. So,
okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Greg. Okay.
We got a rebuttal.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
I did have one question about an update for the tri-trail, when they would be starting up construction again.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
So my engineer is probably most likely when the weather starts to break where they can get usable. However, per the IDOT specifications, May 1st is the actual start of the construction season where they start getting charged days. So that's kind of the critical one, but most likely if the weather is pretty nice in April, they'll probably be out to begin completing that project.
Because a lot of that's asphalt that's left to do.
Correct. Well, we have quite a bit on the west side of Villa, but the portion that they got in, yes, there's some, they can probably finish the base course with the rock, the final outgrading, and then, the asphalt plants would need to be open to pave most of it. But I would anticipate mid-April pending weather. If not, it will be early May that they'll get back out.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay, and the financials?
We have a financial report that's in your packet as well in the village manager's report. Our finance director, Chuck Howard, is here. If any questions about it, I'm happy to present this to you after, it's been a while since we've been able to do this. We should be able to do this on a regular, in fact, monthly basis going here forward. And there's a both detailed report, and then there's also a brief summary at the beginning of the report. So,
Is any questions or comments for the Director? Okay.
this one covers all calendar year 2023, but the future ones will be monthly.
Okay, thanks. Okay, we'll go executive session, item 21A, pursuant to 5 ILCS 120/7C5, the purchase or lease of real property for the use of the public body, including meetings held for the purpose of discussing whether a particular parcel should be acquired. Item B is pursuant to 5 ILCS 120/2C6, the setting of a price for sale or lease of property owned by the public body. And item C is pursuant to 5 ILCS 120/7C11, litigation when an action against, affecting, or on behalf of the particular public body has been filed and is pending before a court or administrative tribunal, or when the public body finds that an action is probable or imminent, in which case the basis for the finding shall be recorded and entered into the minutes of the closed meeting. Do we have a motion for executive session? Trustee Kumar, do we have a second? Trustee Alfano? Clerk Kornecki?
Okay, Trustee Corkery?
Yes.
Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
Trustee Alfano?
Yes.
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
Trustee Kumar? Yes. Trustee Cordova?
Yes.
President Casella?
Yes, so we will go into executive session. We will adjourn, we will come out of executive session and adjourn the meeting up here. So if anyone at home wants to watch, or if anyone in the audience would like to stick around, I don't know how long we'll be, but we will adjourn out of executive session and then reconvene here when we are complete.
And it will be, we'll display the panel until we come back out, and then it will be broadcast when we come back out.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we will adjourn into executive session. coming out of executive session, and item number 22A, unfinished business, directions to staff. We have no directions to staff. So we go to item 23, adjournment. We have a motion to adjourn. Trustee Alfano, a second. Trustee Kumar, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? I see none. Okay, so we're out of here at 9:38. And we will be back February 26th, so everybody have a good couple of weeks and enjoy the nice weather.